episode 174, What Do You Think About Remakes? Featuring Andrew and Cassie. Today, joining me for this episode is my co-host Cassie. Hello, Cassie.
Hey, Andrew,
and hey, listeners.
Hope you're great to be here.
Hope you're all doing well. Great to be here. So Cassie,
today,
actually this morning, we're talking about what we should talk about on simplified speech for this episode. And you came up with a great idea. So maybe I will throw things over to you to let us hear about what our topic is for today.
So we're
going to talk about remakes.
I don't know exactly when this episode will come up, but
when we are talking about the idea, I don't know exactly when this episode will come out, but when we are talking about the idea,
made live action remake has just been debuted
like a week ago. The Little Mermaid live action remake has just been debuted like a week ago.
The Little Mermaid has been getting a lot of attention in the media. Some people are really excited about this remake, some are not, and I thought this would.
And The Little Mermaid has been getting a lot of attention in the media. Some people are really excited about this remake. Some are not.
The Little
Mermaid has been getting a lot of attention in the media. Some people are really excited about this remake, some are not, and I thought this would be a good topic to talk about. Not just The Little Mermaid, but remakes in general.
Yeah, and as soon as I heard your suggestion, I thought it was amazing because I was also reading about video game.
I was also reading about video game.
I was also reading about video game. Video game remakes this week.
In
so
fact,
it was kind of a coincidence that you brought this.
So it was kind of coincidence.
Topic up, and it was kind of a coincidence that you brought this topic up.
So it was kind of coincidence. Coincidence that you brought. It
was kind of a coincidence that you brought this topic up.
So it was kind of a coincidence that you brought this topic up.
It was kind of a coincidence that you brought this topic up.
So it was kind of a coincidence that
video game was kind of a coincidence that you brought this.
So it was kind of a coincidence that you brought this topic up.
And I have been thinking about remakes as well. So I think we'll have
And I have been thinking about remakes as well.
And I have been thinking about remakes as well.
And I have been thinking about remakes as well. And I think we have a lot to talk about.
And with that being
said, I think we should jump into our main topic for today. So Cassie, our topic is remakes.
And like you mentioned at the top of the show, there is a brand new remake of The Little Mermaid, the classic story, The Little Mermaid, which was originally a Disney animated film.
The Little Mermaid, which was originally a Disney animated film. Originally, which was originally a Disney animated film.
Originally it was a book, right?
Originally it was a book, right?
Children's book.
A children's book. I guess originally it was a book, right? I guess originally it was a book, right? 원래는 책이었던 것 같아. I guess originally it was a book, right? Originally it was a book.
That's true.
That's
yes.
true, yes.
Yes,
and then the book was remade into the animated movie
into the animated movie in the early 90s.
in the early 90s, and then the book was remade into the animated movie in the early 90s.
In the early 90s?
In the early 90s. Yes. And then the book was remade into the animated movie in the early 90s.
And then
finally, now,
this year in 2023,
just this year in 2023,
we have the live action movie.
We have the live action movie.
And maybe we should talk about what a live action movie is.
And maybe we should talk about what a live action movie is. And maybe we should talk about what a live action movie is.
And maybe we should talk about what a live action movie is.
And maybe we should talk about what a live action movie is.
What is the difference between an animated film and a live action film, Cassie?
What is the difference between an animated film and a live action film, Cassie? What is the difference between
an animated film and a live action?
What is the difference between an animated film and a live action film?
Cassie?
What is the difference between an animated film and a live action film?
What is the difference between an animated film and a live
animated film? Between an animated film? What is the difference between an animated film and a live action film? What is the difference between an animated film and a live action film, Cassie?
Live action film, Cassie.
Film.
An animated film is just made through artwork, animation.
An animated film is just made through artwork, animation.
However, a live action film is made completely through live actors and CGI for the animal characters usually.
Now, have you seen this movie yet, Cassie?
The Little
Mermaid?
Or are you planning to?
I am planning to see it. I have not seen it.
I am planning to see it. I have not seen it yet, but I have seen several of the other somewhat recent Disney remakes such as Jungle Book, Lion King, Aladdin.
You're a little
bit more knowledgeable about this than I am because I haven't seen any of those remakes, unfortunately. But I have seen the originals, and
I'll try my best to follow along.
I will try my best to follow along, but I haven't seen the originals, and I will try my best to follow along.
Maybe Cassie,
you can answer more of the questions about the differences between the originals and the remakes.
Let's go back to the Little Mermaid for a second because there is
let's go back to the Little Mermaid for a second because there is a lot of controversy around this film. Because there is a lot of controversy around this film. But let's go back to the Little Mermaid for a second because there is a lot of controversy around this film.
And I think, but Let's go back to the Little Mermaid for a second because there is a lot of
controversy
around this film.
But let's go back to the Little Mermaid for a second because there is a lot of controversy around this film. And I think
right off the bat,
when I hear about a remake, I think it's going to be a little bit controversial because there are the purists. And a purist is someone who just really believes that the originals is best, right? So there are maybe Little Mermaid purists who are like, there's no way that you can beat the original.
There's no way that you can beat the original.
There's no way that you can beat the original. There's no way that you can beat the original.
The original animated movie is
the original animated movie is so good. It's perfect. It's a classic. And if you remake that story again, and if you remake that story again, then it will maybe ruin the story a little bit or ruin the kind of nostalgia that person has about the original animated film. Nostalgia.
The kind of nostalgia that person has about nostalgia that person had again, then it will maybe ruin the story a little bit more. Kind of nostalgia maybe ruin this classic, then it will maybe ruin the story a little bit or ruin the.
It will maybe ruin the story a little bit or ruin the kind of nostalgia. 이쪽으로 와. 일로 와. 빨리 와. 아이고. 짜짜짜. 같이 공부해. 덥지? 더워. 아이고 더워. Nostalgia. 어디까지 있냐?
Kind of nostalgia that person has
about the original animated film. So I think right off the bat it's controversial, but this movie in particular is
controversial. Maybe we should particular is extra controversial.
But this movie in particular is extra controversial. But this movie in particular is extra controversial.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about why that is. Could you give us some details?
Maybe we should talk a little bit about why that is. Could you give us some details? 에어컨 틀어줄까? 에어컨 틀어줄게. 가자.
냉방, 제습, 청전, 모든 기능을 자동으로 작동합니다. 냉방 운전을 시작합니다.
어디까지 했냐?
Some details.
Yeah, sure. This one is a little bit more controversial because
This one is a little bit more controversial because
controversial because
This one is a little bit more controversial because
the main actress that was hired, Halle
Bailey is
extremely talented
and makes a perfect mermaid, but she looks very different from the original
The original
Ariel.
Ariel, has flowing red hair, blue
The original Ariel has flowing red hair,
eyes,
pale skin, and Halle Bailey is
an African-American young woman.
An African-American young woman,
And
so
they look very different. And
they look very different. And people, the purists, as you say,
we want her to look exactly like the animated character. And
we want her to look exactly like the animated character.
We want her to look exactly.
We want her to look exactly
like the animated character. And others are.
We want her to look exactly like the animated character. We want her to look exactly like the animated character. And others are saying
The Little Mermaid is a fictional character.
The Little Mermaid is a fictional character. The Little Mermaid is a fictional character. The Little Mermaid is a fictional character, and mermaids are not real. Whichever actress best fits the role should be allowed to play it, and that's the controversy.
Right now.
That's the controversy. That's the controversy that's happening right now.
And so
Right, and so
really,
in my opinion,
kind of
stupid controversy because
it's a mermaid.
It's
right?
a mermaid, right?
Aren't real. Sorry to
Mermaids
break it to
aren't
everybody.
real.
At least as mermaids aren't real.
Mermaids aren't real. Sorry to break it
to everybody. At least
Sorry to break it to everybody.
sorry to break it to everybody. At least as far as I know, ocean scientists have never discovered a mermaid.
So
I think
this is stupid. Doesn't matter the race of the person playing the role because mermaids aren't real.
Because mermaids aren't real.
Because mermaids aren't real. Because mermaids aren't real. Because mermaids aren't real. Because mermaids aren't real. So
I don't really
understand the controversy, but some people I think there are the purists, right, who don't want the original story changed.
Also our kind of element with some racist people.
Also our kind of racial elements with some racist people who are against having a black actress play the role, which is
extra stupid.
Is extra stupid in my opinion.
In fact,
Cassie, I was reading today that IMDb. You're familiar with that website?
I believe it stands for the Internet Movie Database.
IMDb, I believe it stands for the Internet Movie Database, and
it's a place where many English speakers go if we want to find a review.
It's a place where many English speakers go if we want to find a review or a rating for a movie.
I think it's owned by Amazon.com, actually. So
I think it's owned by Amazon.com, actually.
It has an affiliation.
So it has an affiliation. It has an affiliation.
What I read in the article. I just learned that.
That's what I read in the article. I just learned that today.
Just learned that today too. And so the IMDb actually has to change their algorithm for the reviews
that they receive because
on this website you can
upload your own review after watching a movie. So the website shows you reviews of people who have watched the film, who are not like professional critics,
right? They're just like what the audience thinks generally.
They're just like what the audience thinks generally.
Well, the IMDb
they announced that for
this movie, The Little Mermaid,
they had to switch their algorithm
because they were receiving so many
negative reviews, like one-star reviews, which is the lowest review that you can give on that website is a one-star review, and they said that it wasn't necessarily individual users. But it's like a bot attack. Individual users, but it was like a bot attack. So somebody went out of their way to program some kind of bot attack to give this movie a bunch of one-star reviews,
and we don't know why exactly.
And we don't know why exactly.
It might be some Little Mermaid purist who thinks that
there's like some Little Mermaid purist who thinks that
the live action remake goes away from the original story, but it
goes away from the original story. Original. But it could also be about the racist element with maybe some racist people hating that a black character is so prominently displayed in the film. So I don't know exactly why that is happening. It's interesting, but it's also kind of sad, I think.
It is.
For me, I didn't have a problem with Halle Berry being the main character. It is. For me, I didn't have a problem with Halle Berry being the main character, but from the
commercials that I've seen, I'm a little horrified by how Flounder looks in the
I'm a little horrified
by how
I'm a little horrified by how Flounder looks in the live remake, right? Live action film. Live remake.
Flounder is so cute in the animation.
Flounder is so cute in the animation. A live action film. Live remake.
And a real live fish is just not as cute as an anime fish. And he looked kind of creepy in the trailers that I've.
And he looks kind of creepy in the trailers.
And he looked kind of creepy in the trailers that I've seen.
And he looks kind of creepy in the trailers that I've seen so far.
I don't know why people aren't debating about the creepy Flounder.
I don't know why people aren't debating about the creepy Flounder rather than
the beautiful actress we have
seen for us.
Well, No, like
You know,
Finding
like
Nemo.
Finding Nemo. Nemo is an animated fish that's
so
cute.
maybe
So
they could
maybe
do it like
maybe they could do it like
in some areas, but
I haven't seen anything about this movie other than the
I can't
poster.
really comment.
I haven't seen anything about this movie other than the poster. I haven't seen anything about this movie other than the poster. I haven't seen anything about this movie. I haven't seen anything about this movie other than the poster. I haven't seen anything about this movie other than the poster. I haven't seen anything about this movie other than the poster. 포스터 말고는 이 영화에 대해서 본 게 없어. I haven't seen anything about this movie other than the poster. I haven't seen anything about this movie other than the poster. I haven't seen anything about this movie other than the poster. So yeah.
So I can't really comment. I'll have to check that out and get back to you, Cassie.
I will have to check that out. I will have to check that out and get back to you, Cassie.
I'm sorry to hear about flounder.
I'm sorry to hear about the flounder. I'm sorry to hear about the flounder.
Might give you nightmares.
It might give you nightmares.
You know, Cassie, I was thinking about this issue today.
You know, Cassie, I was thinking about this issue today, and
I realized something a little bit strange. I want to know your opinion about this, and maybe
I want to know your opinion about this, and maybe my feeling is wrong, and
I'm not sure. Well,
I need to check it. I'm not sure.
But for
a fictional movie
like
The Little Mermaid,
I don't really care if they change the race.
I don't really care if they change the race or
the place. You know, if they want to change some elements to remix.
If they want to change some elements to remix and
retell the story, and especially
an older story, if they want to update it for a modern audience. Because a movie that's 30 plus years old, something that we love from our childhood, something that we love from our childhood, but if we were to show it to kids today, maybe they would say, "Oh, it's old-fashioned." But if we were to show it to kids today, if we were to show it to kids today, maybe they would say, "Oh, it's old-fashioned." They don't want to watch it, right? So it could be like a way to So it could be like a way to connect with children these days too, right? To share our stories with them is by remaking a movie.
But for remakes that are fictional, I don't care.
But for remakes that are fictional, I don't care.
Change the characters, change the place, change the setting a little bit. Tweak it, make it relevant for today.
Make it relevant for today. That's cool.
But if it's a historical story, you know.
But if it's an historical, but it's an historical story. But if it's an historical story, But if it's an historical story,
You know, if it's not fictional, but it's like,
if it's not fictional,
a real story.
but it's like a real story. that kind of makes me wonder, like,
should we be tweaking the characters?
Should we be tweaking the characters?
Should we be tweaking
the languages?
This
especially drives me crazy if it's like a story that takes place, maybe in Spain or
China and
Spain or Japan. Drives me crazy if it's like a story that takes place, maybe in Spain or Japan or China.
Characters are speaking English. I hate
the characters are speaking English. I hate this.
Like it almost makes me want to not watch the movie.
It almost makes me wanna not watch the movie. Wanna not watch the movie. It almost makes me wanna not watch the movie. Wanna not watch the movie.
I'm like, why are they speaking English in Japan? Like,
why are they speaking English in Japan? Like,
they should be speaking Japanese,
They should be speaking Japanese,
So that kind of thing really drives me up the wall
a little bit.
What are your feelings about that? If it's not,
what are your feelings about that? If it's not a fictional story, but a non-fictional story.
Honestly, even for stories, I think it.
Honestly, even for fictional stories, I think
it depends on the context because there was actually a controversy a few years ago.
There was actually a controversy a few years ago
for Ghost in the Shell,
which is a.
I mean, I don't know much about.
Which is I mean, I don't know much about
Ghost in the Shell, but I believe it started as some sort of Japanese sci-fi franchise or comic.
Yeah, I think it's an anime originally.
Yeah, I think it's an anime. Originally.
Anime.
And that one, the main character in the live-action remake was played by Scarlett Johansson, and
that caused a bit of an
uproar as well. But
the reverse,
instead of
a white character being replaced by a person of color, it was an Asian character being replaced by a white character. It got the same hate. Not quite as much hate as this one. But a lot of hate.
I don't know. I think it's hard. The world we live in,
there's so many different cultures,
there's just so many different cultures that we're all blending together.
And, as we progress into the 21st century,
as we progress into, the 21st century,
are trying to be more diverse in our roles, but
we are trying to be more diverse in our roles, but
because of that, you're gonna run into conflicts in whatever scenario you do. So in my case, I like to watch films and entertainment for that entertainment value, and I'm not really angry whoever plays the character. That's not really my style.
Not really my style, but
I understand
the people who do get angry by that because they want to be
represented correctly, or you.
Progress. We're trying to be more diverse in our roles, but because of that, you're gonna run into conflicts in whatever scenario you do. So in my case, I like to watch films and entertainment for that entertainment value. I'm not really angry whoever plays the character. That's not really my style, but I understand the people who do get angered by that
because they wanna be
represented correctly.
They wanna be
represented correctly or represented correctly.
They wanna be represented correctly. Represented correctly. Or
you don't want your culture to be changed.
You don't want your culture to be changed.
So if you have an original
so if you have an original that you feel like a
connection
to, and then the character has changed
that is not what you expected. Something that is not what you expected.
Is not what you expected. I can understand that. But
you all have to kind of step back and also realize.
But we all have to kind of step back and also realize.
As you said,
these characters are fictional, and
we should try to take it at face value. And
we should try to take it at face value, and
just know we're here to enjoy it, fun, no matter who's
enjoy it and have fun, no matter who is playing the lead. I can't ever imagine personally getting that upset over a fictional series. Like, there's no movie that I love so much that if there's no movie that I love so much that if they remake.
There's no movie that I love so much that if they remake.
I love so much that if they remake it,
that I would be upset enough to even leave a review on the internet.
Let alone
get angry.
Get angry.
And it's not like the original is suddenly gone.
And it's not like the original is suddenly gone.
Right? It's like the original still exists.
It's like the original still exists. It's not like the original is suddenly gone. 그런 건 아니잖아. It's not like 그런 건 아니잖아. It's like 그런 거지. The original still exists.
You can always go back and watch that. Kazi, what do you think?
As you mentioned a little earlier, there are so many Disney remakes these days. They have been kind of going into the archive and selecting those films that are maybe now around the 30-year-old mark, but they were really successful in the 80s and 90s, and they've been remaking them, and
it's not just Disney. There are other movie production companies doing.
There are other movie production companies doing this as well. Like we've seen all of the comic book characters being remade from comic books into their own movies as well.
Yeah, as I mentioned, also video games. Old classic video games that.
There's a lot of old classic video games that are getting remakes these days. Do you think that this is just a money grab? Are the production studios just doing this to make money, or is there something else motivating them to make all these remakes?
Yeah, honestly, I kind of it is a money grab.
Honestly, I kind of think it is a money grab.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard the reason why they're making all these remakes is because of copyright issues.
But I heard the reason why they are making all of these remakes is. But I heard the reason why. is because of copyright issue, like
the copyright contracts for those films were coming to close. So for Disney to keep full rights of those films,
so for Disney to keep full rights of those films,
they had to produce something new that used those same characters. Again, I don't know if
something new that use
those same characters. Again, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've read, and it makes
but that's what I've read, and it makes a lot of sense to me.
If that was the case, why they're making all of these remakes. I also think that
they realize how
much of a hit it was for our generation or the generation before us, and our kids are now growing up, and they think, who do kids watch movies with?
Their parents.
Who do kids watch movies with? Parents.
This generation, yes.
Us. This generation, yes. 이번 세대.
So if you make a remake of a movie that your parents love, maybe it will sell more movie tickets because your parents can go back and
it will sell more movie tickets because your parents can go back and watch the characters they loved in the past,
and now the kids can fall in love with them too.
And now the kids can fall in love with them too.
They gotta milk those franchises for every penny.
They gotta milk those franchise for every penny. I suppose, but it does make a lot of sense from a business perspective, in my opinion.
I'm sure in those board meetings that they had, this is a good idea.
They were like, yeah, this is a good idea.
Let's do it.
Let's remake these movies.
Yeah, I think it has been financially successful for them.
Yeah, I think it has been financially successful for them as well.
I was talking about video games earlier, and
I was talking about video games earlier, and I think video games are a little bit different because
a lot of the games from my childhood.
A lot of the games from my childhood that
I grew up with. When you try to play them now, they're still good.
When you try to play them now, they're still
good from a nostalgia perspective, but the graphics are outdated.
But like the graphics are outdated.
Often it's hard to play them because the video game machines themselves are kind of
because the video game machines themselves are kind of outdated and don't work very well, or sometimes are just slow or chunky.
Sometimes it's even hard to hook them up to your TV.
Sometimes it's even hard to hook them up to your TV. These days because
technology has changed so much.
The technology has changed so much. Technology. Because the technology has changed so much. The technology has changed so much. So
to update a video game and to remake it with new graphics
and for a modern video game console, that is really exciting to me. I'm all for that. And often in that situation too,
they just
remake the game, or maybe they add some like bonus levels at the end
but they're not changing the story. They're not changing.
But they are not changing the story. They are not changing
the character. It's like the same game, just modern.
It's like the same game, just modern.
So I love that.
And there's been a slew of announcements about video game remakes. And there's been a slew of announcements about video game remakes.
Although I played games when I was younger a lot, I haven't played it many for a long time, but one game that I heard is getting remade is Metal Gear Solid, which was a favorite of mine when I was younger, so I thought maybe I will have to go and buy a PlayStation so I can play the new Metal Gear Solid.
The cool thing about video games is they don't really feel like remakes because even though you use the same characters, you have slightly different storylines, and you can take the nostalgia and nostalgic part. The nostalgic parts and meld them really well with the modern parts. For example,
the Super Mario World with the Yoshi.
For example, the Super Mario World with the Yoshi characters and Princess Peach and Daisy. They're timeless. Pokemon is another one that's timeless. Whole new island,
Whole new
adventure, same style, fighting Pokemon. What's another one? Zelda. What's another one? What's another one? Zelda.
Talking about milking a franchise.
Yeah.
Nintendo is
Talking about milking a franchise. Nintendo is
good at that as well. Agreed.
Agreed.
So good.
Almost no one has
about though. I mean, you'll get like, I like this better in the old version.
So good. Almost no one has bad reviews about them. I mean,
But people still play it.
Yeah.
forget like I like this better in the older version, but people still like it.
Absolutely. It's always exciting when your favorite franchise comes out with a new version.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always exciting when your favorite franchise comes out with a new version.
Speaking of Zelda, there's a brand new Zelda game out.
Speaking of Zelda, there's a brand new Zelda game out as well.
And some of my friends back home in Canada
have been playing it, and
want to go out and
it's made me again wanna go out and buy a Nintendo just so I can play the new Zelda. So
I don't know. I'll see if I can find the time to do that, but
I will see if I can find the time to do that.
Yeah, it's exciting to have things
that we grew up with that are nostalgic, remade, and it's nice that in a way that
don't let these stories die, right? That they're
don't let these stories die, right?
Continuing on, but also I can see the other side.
Continuing on, but also
I can see the other side of the coin. Or it's like
I can see the other side of the coin where
be some new stories and some
where it's like maybe some new stories and some
creativity could go along.
Creativity, and some creativity could go a long way in the future as well.
Yeah, or
taking a fusion of the young and old. Some of my favorite works of entertainment in the past few years were in a movie.
Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It Ralph. I mean, even this is several years old now, but Wreck-It Ralph took all of the best video games and arcade games from the 80s and 90s and put them into a film where Wreck-It Ralph is like an 80s arcade game character, and then he becomes best friends with the
Vanellope, who is
Vanellope, who is
early
2000s arcade game character, and the way that they meld and coexist Donkey Kong
and Pac-Man,
and
all the
other modern characters were so fun to watch.
Sounds right up my alley. I'm surprised that I haven't heard of it, but
Sounds right up my alley. I'm surprised that I haven't heard of it, but I will have to check that out. Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
All right.
And then also Ready Player
One was a really famous book and movie. I think that takes
nostalgic pieces from the past, and then
nostalgic pieces from the past, and then
really
livens
them up with
a whole new setting and idea.
I'll leave on this note, Cassie, because
I will leave on this note, Cassie, because
sure we could go on and on and on about this topic.
I'm sure we could go on and on and on about this topic.
But the trailer
for the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was just
released,
which
I think is being produced or created by Seth
Rogen, the comedian, and
I didn't watch
the
trailer
because I was worried. So maybe I'm
contradicting myself now because
contradicting. Maybe I'm contradicting myself now. I'm contradicting myself now.
Because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was a big part.
Because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle was a big part of my
childhood.
I even have photos of me dressing up as a Teenage Mutant
for Halloween.
Dressing up as a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle for Halloween.
So I loved it when I was a kid.
I loved the video game. I loved the video game. I loved the cartoon. I love the live action movie as well.
But now they're remaking it, and I didn't.
Now they are remaking it, and I didn't watch the trailer because I thought,
what if it's bad?
What if it's bad? Maybe
it'll kind of spoil the
it would kind of spoil the
franchise and my
nostalgia for me. I guess maybe I'm a little bit more passionate about this topic than
I originally stated. Now that I think
now that I think of it.
It depends on which character it is.
Yeah.
It depends on which character it is.
And Seth Rogen in general is a pretty.
And Seth Rogen in general is a pretty funny guy. So I'm gonna put my faith. I'm gonna put my faith in him that is true to
the original. So Cassie and I are keeping our conversation.
Cassie and I are keeping our conversation going for a little while longer here, and we prepared some fun rapid fire style questions, and let's jump into them, Cassie. Number one, I don't know if you have an answer for this.
That's what makes rapid fire fun.
I don't know if you have an answer for this off the top of your head, but that's what makes rapid fire fun.
What's one movie or video game that you think should never be remade?
I do have an answer because
I do have an answer because I read the question ahead of schedule. So I got one in my brain. This movie was pretty low
and it's kind of a cult classic. I never want it to be remade.
It's kind of a cult classic. I never want it to be remade, and
that is The Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride.
Such a good movie.
Such a good movie.
It's not even like an amazing movie, but
I mean, it's not even like an amazing movie.
But it's just
so full of great
one-liners. And the characters are so quirky.
And the characters are so quirky.
They cannot.
Quirky. They cannot be
remade.
Impossible.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable. Inconceivable. Impossible. Inconceivable. Inconceivable.
I agree.
I agree
with you completely. That's a great choice.
And I think
that movie is very funny. It's got a lot of comedic elements to it, and
it's got a lot of comedic elements to it, and
it has a lot of
really unique actors like
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant.
Like, where else are you gonna find a guy like that?
Where else are you gonna find a guy like that?
So I think
any comedy, some of my favorite movies are those like 90s comedies. I think I've talked about Dumb and Dumber on Clips a lot. It's my favorite comedy.
Jim Carrey
and like you could never remake that, like Jim Carrey. He's such a unique comedic actor that there would be nobody that could play him to the same extent.
Would never work. All of my
favorite just would never work. And all of my favorite comedies from where I was younger, I wouldn't touch them. I would never try to remake them.
I agree.
The actor was born to play that role, and nobody can replace them. Have you ever seen a movie remake that you think is better than the original? Is it possible to improve your?
Do we always just think that is it possible to
improve on the original?
Do we always just think that the remakes are not as good?
Do we always just think that the remakes are not as good?
That's a good question.
I saw a remake.
It's not super recent. I saw a remake.
This one
is not super recent. It was a Disney remake.
It was a Disney remake.
It was the
Mulan remake.
I
really liked some of the new songs in that remake.
I love the
old songs too, but I thought some of the new songs were like a head bopper.
That remake,
the song choice, top notch. I haven't seen the original, but many people have told me that the new Dune movie is better than the original Dune movie. So I saw the newest Dune movie and it was cool. I kind of thought it was a little bit boring, like cool but boring and a little bit long.
I don't know if I want to go back and watch the original per se.
I don't know if I want to go back and watch the original per se. Because I heard that it was just much better than the original.
That's one example. This is something that I've never watched, but I'm actually curious.
I've heard of.
This is something that I've never watched, but I'm actually curious.
This is something that I've never watched, but I'm actually curious about your opinion.
Have you seen all of the
Star Wars?
Yeah, I've seen all of the original trilogy.
Yeah, I've seen all of the original trilogy.
And I've seen some of the prequels, but I lost interest in Star Wars. They just started coming out with too many.
They just started coming out with too many.
Too many movies and too many characters. I was never like a huge...
I was never like a huge...
passionate fan of the series to start with.
So yeah.
Okay, I know the originals were life-changing for some people. When the prequels came out, which were made a lot later,
did you think they were up to snuff with the originals? Were
No,
they
they were
as
so
good?
terrible. I remember
No, they were so terrible. I remember
when
when
the
the
prequels
came
out,
like the Phantom Menace, and I don't remember exactly the
name. It might have been the
name.
Phantom Menace.
It might have been the Phantom Menace, but
there was a character named Jar Jar Binks.
there was a character named Jar Jar Binks, and
Jar Jar Binks
Jar
was
Jar
just
Binks
laughable.
was just laughable.
Yeah, I just knew right from the start that they
Yeah, I just knew right from the start that they
weren't
weren't
anywhere
near the quality of the originals.
Yeah, I've never seen them, but I was wondering if you'd seen them and had an opinion.
Cassie, I would love to know our listeners' opinions about
Cassie, I would love to know our listeners' opinions about
this topic
because I think it does bring out a lot of passion in people, and I was surprised to see in myself even how strong my opinions were about the
So guys, we're going to throw things over to you. We would love to know what
So guys, we're gonna throw things over to you. We would love to know what you think. Please let us know let us know by leaving a comment on our website
or discussion
forum, or even by sending us an email. You can reach us at contact@culips.com.
So take care, everyone, and we'll talk to you in the next episode. Goodbye.
We'll talk to you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
That brings us to the